Okay, let's just dive right in. In late 2024, an object that has been drifting through the dark of interstellar space for maybe millions of years started doing things that, well, they just don't make sense. It's behaving in ways that seem to defy our fundamental understanding of how the universe is supposed to work. This whole story, it kicks off with a puzzle that literally spans the entire globe.
Just try to picture this for a second. You've got astronomers in Spain, Thailand, Japan, and the United States. They're all pointing their telescopes at the same little patch of sky. Now, most of these folks, they don't even know each other. They're using completely different gear, different software, looking on different nights from opposite sides of the planet. And yet, they all saw the exact same thing, a bizarre geometric pattern coming from an interstellar object named 3I/Atlas. That I stands for interstellar, by the way, and this is only the third one we've ever confirmed. So we're not talking about one blurry, controversial photo here. We're talking about multiple, totally independent sightings that all point to one single, completely unexplained phenomenon.
What we're really looking at here is this incredible moment where citizen science, a whole network of amateur skywatchers, might have just outpaced the big institutions. They found a pattern. And in science, a pattern is something that demands an explanation. Now, to really appreciate just how strange this all is, we first have to talk about what this object was supposed to be doing. Comets, for the most part, are pretty predictable. Astronomically speaking, they follow a certain rulebook. We know how they're supposed to behave. So here's the deal. A normal comet is basically a fragile, dirty snowball. The sun's radiation heats it up, pushes its tail directly away, and causes a messy, chaotic eruption of gas and dust. Simple enough, right? Well, 3I Atlas seems to have taken that rulebook and thrown it out the airlock. It survived its closest pass to the sun without breaking up. It's showing these incredibly organized geometric patterns, and get this, it has material pointing towards the sun. That just shouldn't be happening. And look, this isn't just one little oddity. It's a whole collection of them. It's like a case file of weirdness that's gotten so thick that some of the most serious scientists in the world are starting to pay very, very close attention. So let's open up that file and break down the evidence piece by piece. Anomaly number 1, the shape. An observer in Spain was the first to spot what he called dual clockwise wave patterns in the cloud of gas around the object's core. And this perfectly captures the mystery. This isn't random. It's an organized, rotating structure that was seen night after night. That is completely inconsistent with the chaotic, random bursts we expect from a normal comet.
Then you've got the anti-tail. This is a big one. It's a plume of material that's actually pointing towards the sun. That directly violates the basic physics of solar radiation. Now, sometimes you can get what looks like an anti-tail, but it's usually just an optical illusion based on our viewing angle. The problem here is that this one has been visible for months, seen by people all over the world. That makes it pretty clear it's not some trick of the light. It's real material going where it has no business going. Okay, next up, the object's chemical fingerprint. And this is where things get even weirder. The James Webb Telescope found that it's full of carbon dioxide, but has very little water, the exact opposite of comets from our solar system. Stranger still, it's spewing out huge amounts of nickel vapor, but almost no iron. In nature, those two metals are almost always found together. This bizarre recipe suggested either formed in a very, very different star system, or it's made of something far tougher than a simple dirty snowball. And finally, there's the way it moves. 3I Atlas isn't just coasting along the path gravity has laid out for it. It's accelerating. Something is pushing it. Now, normal comets do get a tiny push from their own outgassing, kind of like a weak rocket engine. But the way this thing is accelerating, the pattern and the sheer force of it, it just doesn't quite fit our standard models. It's yet another layer to this incredible puzzle. So, with all this crazy data piling up, how do scientists even begin to process it without jumping to wild conclusions? Well, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb actually developed a tool for this exact kind of situation. It's called the Loeb scale, and it's a way to scientifically classify just how strange an object is based on the hard evidence. The scale is pretty simple. It goes from level 1, which is a totally conventional object, all the way up to level 5, a potential technosignature, a sign of technology. So based on all these stacking anomalies we've just talked about, Avi Loeb has placed 3I/Atlas firmly at level 4. This means it's no longer just a weird comet, it is officially an anomaly that requires serious, dedicated investigation.
But this object didn't just create a scientific puzzle. It also sparked a very human one. It's led to what some are calling a verification crisis, a real clash between the passionate citizen scientists who first spotted the oddities and the major scientific institutions. And here's the truly shocking part. When NASA finally released their official images from the Hubble and James Webb telescopes, they were blurrier. They showed less detail than what amateur astronomers were capturing from their own backyards. Now, sure, there are some technical reasons for this, but the optics of it, so to speak, are just undeniable. Citizen scientists with their own gear managed to get a better look than billion-dollar space programs. This whole situation led Avi Loeb to bring up a classic quote from Sherlock Holmes. There is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. And his point is powerful. Dismissing 3I/Atlas as just a weird comet might be the obvious answer, but it forces you to deliberately ignore this growing mountain of evidence that simply doesn't fit that easy explanation. So, if we're officially at a level 4 anomaly, what happens now? Well, the investigation is far from over. In fact, you could say the most critical tests are just around the corner.
There are two really key dates to keep an eye on. First, this December, in 2025. That's our best and probably last chance to get a really detailed look from Earth-based telescopes. But the real showdown comes in March of 2026. That's when 3I/Atlas is going to have a close encounter with Jupiter. How it reacts to that planet's massive gravity, whether it just acts like a passive rock or does something unexpected, that could give us the definitive answers we're looking for. Which brings us right back to the central mind-bending question: what are we looking at here? Are we just witnessing a 1 in a billion natural wonder, a comet so bizarre it's going to force us to rewrite all the textbooks? Or are these organized patterns, this impossible chemistry, and its strange, intelligent-like movements the signature of something else entirely? The investigation goes on, and for right now, all we can really do is keep watching the skies.